Welcome to the Big Movement Podcast. If you're ready to create results and make huge strides in your business, finances, personal development, and health, then you're in the right place. Pushing past excuses and powering through procrastination can be a challenge alone. Here, you'll get the support, tools, and knowledge you need to get to the level you desire in your business and life. Let's get started with your host, Byron Ingram.
And welcome to another episode of the podcast. And today we have Tommy Breedlove, who is the founder of Choose Goodness, a movement dedicated to helping leaders and entrepreneurs focus beyond the financial bottom line in terms of bridging that gap between humanity and profitability. So we're going to learn a little bit more about how he does this and so much more. So let's give a welcome to Tommy. So Tommy, welcome.
Hey, Byron. It's good to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Sure, definitely. So now, how did you get into this world of bridging that gap between humanity and profitability? Because there's some people out there who are like, screw humanity, it's about the bottom line.
I was that guy, so that's exactly how I got into it. So Choose Goodness originally started for me as a benchmark as a human being in how I wanted to live my life. I was 36 years old. I worked for a large financial consulting firm. I just made junior partner. All the bells and whistles, the big office, the TV dangling from the ceiling, glass looking down into the city of Atlanta. And I've turned around and looked at my life and looked behind me, and all I saw was just this wake of destruction. I was compromising who I was as a human being, who I wanted to be. I was wearing all these different masks, from important guy to cool guy to tough guy to I know all guy. I'm going to turn the lights off last, and it was about money, money, money. And if that didn't work, we're going to try to get even more money. And what I found is I was just not living my highest truth. And so Choose Goodness was initially born just for me as who I wanted to be. And I would ask myself, have I chosen goodness for myself, which is even today one of the toughest ones, someone close to me, my community, or my planet? And so at 36, I said, enough is enough. I decided to redo my life, both emotionally, mentally, physically, just being the man I wanted to be in all facets of my life, blending that humanity and profitability, and know that I can live my truth, live in an honest, compassionate way of goodness without compromising my financial success. And I do believe, and I've lived it, to where I do believe that you can have a holistic life of being who you are, achieving meaning, building a legacy, living in your zone of brilliance, but also you can do that without compromising the financial part. So for me, it all started as enough is enough. This clearly isn't working. I'm on this path of, honestly, Byron, I don't know where it would have led. It could have led to the worst of the worst. And so I just decided to change my life. And so that's how Choose Goodness was born. And now it's become a movement to help people make, honestly, clear, concise, courageous, and conscious choices. And that's really tough for us to do sometimes if we step back and think about it.
And, that is so powerful that you did that, because you look at how many people, they've never stop to take a look in the mirror and ask themselves, do they like what they see?
Hard to do.
Oh yeah, because you get caught up, just like you think of, you're wearing these masks because it's all about the bottom line, because we live in that world where people say that this is defining of what success is. You have to have the big house or the penthouse apartment or whatever, the fancy cars, and you don't necessarily think about it, what expense.
Yeah, you're totally right. And one thing I have learned, both from spending 20 years in large financial consulting firms to having lived it, to the men, women, and individuals that I coach now, to just friends and family having this discussion. And in my former day, a long time ago, we represented even people that, had billions of dollars to their name. And one thing that I have discovered is money certainly helps. It's a tool to get you to where you need to go, but it certainly will not give you fulfillment, happiness. And if you're on this constant chase of it, where it's the goal and not the means, you will turn around with a lot of regrets. And you read about these cliches. You only get so many spins around the sun. And if you spent your entire life chasing that dollar, you can't take any of it with you, right? And at what compromises and what sacrifices have you made, both in your family, your health, your personal life, your freedom, your time, to who you want to truly be and what impact you want to have on this earth. And if you're compromising all those things just to buy another car, I've seen it time and time again, from mass depression to affairs to suicide. I mean, these things manifest themselves in horrific ways. And I'm here, and I'm a living proof. And this is more than a calling for me, Byron. This was A, life or death, but B, I just know that you can have it all. And so, and that doesn't mean the big house. If you want a big house, we'll can find you a way to get a big house. But really, it's about how you live your life and that bridge, again, like you said, between humanity and profitability.
And it's so spot on that you said that about not compromising yourself, because you look at how many people go through life without being fulfilled. And if you think about it on a deeper level, if you look around the globe, look at the cultures where some of these island nations, like using as a great example, where they have a different concept of wealth in material items, that they're living in a tropical paradise, but at the same time, do you see them driving around in fancy cars? No. To them, that wealth is being able to spend the time with the people they care about, so they do the things to maximize and provide for their family. And if you were to ask them what else do they need, to like, well, I have everything, because to them that definition of success is right there, versus that where we've been conditioned of you have to have the bigger and bigger things, because you have to display how successful you are to others in order to prove it.
Yeah, you're totally right. And if you look at, on a side note related to exactly what you said, one of the best, and I think it's only about an hour long, but one of the best documentaries I've ever seen is called Happy. It's it's a case study of around the world from different societies and cultures and how we define happiness and who we are as humans on the short time that we have on Earth. It's just a shameless plug for a great documentary that I watch probably 4 times a year just to remind myself, because I have to do the work too. Again, this is about me living my truth as well. So by helping others and watching these things, it helps me. But you're spot on, Byron. Look at our media. If we're not promoting fear, we're promoting things. We look at, these rock stars and rappers and movie stars, NBA players, NFL players, and they seem to have it all, from the great cars to the big houses to the fame. And if you look at them, if you look behind the mirror, we also like to justify their disgraces. We like to talk about all the things that go wrong with them and all this other stuff. So our media, what we surround ourselves with and what we're constantly being hit at from both news, social media, is about more. And if you don't have more, you're not enough. And it puts us in this, I'm not good enough, insecure, envious. And envy and jealousy are killers. I mean, they're absolutely killer emotions. And if I'm constantly looking at, well, Kim Kardashian's got this, or this person has this, and look how pretty they are, it's all about not being good enough. And that's not healthy. And so really, choose goodness in us as human beings. The truth is, we are good enough. We are worthy. We all have our God-given talents that we can give both to ourselves and to other people. And to cut out all that nonsense noise of media, social media, shaming, envy, jealousy, resentment, haves and haves not, and let's just live our truth and live it to the best of our ability. And if we do that and we start living from an abundance mindset more than a scarcity mindset, amazing things start happening both in your personal and professional lives.
And that is spot on. You have to detox yourself from what's being presented out there. I think if you just take 5 minutes and you turn on the news, it's that fear or it's that promotion of something material. And it's one of the reasons why I stopped watching the news years ago. And people ask me, well, how do I stay up to date with what's going on in the world? I spend a couple of minutes several times a day. I quickly look at headlines on the news on different websites. That's it. Because I don't want to fill my mind with anything that's not a necessity.
It is there to sell advertising, and fear, sex, and you trying to get more and more and more. That's what sells. And Tim Ferriss said this, I believe it was in the 4-Hour Work Week. I think he said, I believe it was him, so I want to give him credit where credit's due. If it's important enough, you'll hear about it from 20 other people. So you don't even have to turn on the headlines each day to hear what's going on. everyone around you will be talking about it. So if it's that important, you'll hear about it. But if it's not, I mean, just think about if you took a 2-week detox from news and social media, that alone would change your life. And within the first 5 minutes of going back to it, you would immediately notice how you feel. And again, it's there to promote the haves and haves not. It's there to give you a sense of insecurity, and it's also there to promote fear and judgment. And so it's just a really interesting thing of what, this human experience that we live, that, why are we putting ourselves through this? And that goes back to the power of choice. You can choose if you're able to make conscious choices, and that's sometimes tough because we make all these choices that we don't realize, the impact that they have. But if we choose not to do that and choose to invest that time spending it with someone we love, or spending it on a hobby we like, or building a business, or just serving ourselves or someone else, your life would change tenfold, I promise.
Oh yeah, we have to do that. And I think people don't realize the power of disconnecting from the world for short periods of time. Like, one of my favorite things to do, and I typically do it on a Sunday, is I don't log on to Facebook at all. And it's mainly because I don't really want to hear anybody else's crap, even though I don't surround myself with people that do. But it's just so that way I have time to be in my own thoughts, just to think about the things that I want to think about without you hear a message from someone else like, ooh, maybe I should look at that too. So it helps rejuvenate that focus that we all lose track of in this fast-paced world we live in.
I love that, Byron, and I guarantee you, since you've been doing that, your life has changed so much more for the better. Call it a one-day detox of social media, right? Yeah. And it's just brilliant, probably the impacts that's had just on your well-being, where you can get centered, you can get your thoughts, you can plan your life out with your, who you want to be and how you want to live. And I just love that you do that.
Oh, yeah. It's a great feeling. If I come back on everything Monday morning, I don't think about anything that happens. And what you mentioned there, like with Tim Ferriss, I don't pay attention to any sports or anything like that. If I want to know who won, I'm pretty positive I can quickly glance through my newsfeed on Facebook and I know the happenings of every sporting event that took place.
That's right. You're absolutely right. And if it's important enough, you'll know it.
Right. Exactly.
So many people will be talking about it. It's just this unbelievable thing that we're doing to ourselves, and it just seems like it's never going to be enough, right? It's just more, fear, and that all promotes that I'm not good enough. Let me live in my shell, and it's very divisive. It's like we're our own worst enemy. We've got so many great things for us in this country that we live in and the opportunities that we have. Now, we have a lot of issues, and it's not for us to bury our heads in the sand, but it's also, why can't we look at the glass as half full? And why are we always trying to turn on each other instead of turning into each other and propping each other up and say, how do we take all these wonderful opportunities, business, education, the freedoms that we do have, and how do we use them to benefit ourselves, our local communities, our families, and then in our world? And instead, we're too busy pointing the finger at each other, and Democrat, Republican, blue, white, green, red. It's just crazy, all the noise. And I didn't mean to go on this digression. It's just super critical for people to really notice that and be conscious of that in order for them to start surrounding themselves with information, news, friends, business colleagues, mentors, coaches who are there to promote them and help them live the life that they want to live.
And that is so spot on, because even though it's a little bit of that side conversation here, it's still important and relevant. If you look at how do you choose goodness, you have to look at your focus. Where is it at? And the people that want to just constantly point the fingers at, if you look at politics, well, Democrats say this, Republicans say that. Like, people don't realize is that these are the polarizing issues that you only see. People don't see the rest of it. So if people look at the news and they only see, oh, here's the violent crimes of this and that happening, what they don't tell you is here's all the great things that have been going on. The ways that people are coming together, because that doesn't sell news, and the advertisers
doesn't sell advertising.
So well, you can't.
That's right.
We're going to lose money because people don't want to watch that. It's ridiculous. You think about reality TV. There's nothing real about it.
There's nothing real about it, and we're turning on reality TV to watch the tragedy.
Right.
And that's to look outside of ourselves and I don't want to go too much on a digression here because I like to focus on the positive, but it's all, if you really look at it, and these are killers. And this is what I would say for me as Tommy Breedlove as a human, or as Byron Ingram as a human, or the people listening to this podcast. If you're constantly coming from a place of judgment, judging others, look at that person, chances are you're really judging yourself, or envy or jealousy or resentment or anger or fear. All of that reality TV and the noise around us and the promotion of what we do in our media is to promote that. And if you're feeling that, if you constantly are saying, look at that person, or, trying to put yourself above or below someone, or coming from a place of jealousy, envy, anger, those are all signals that you're living an unfulfilled life. And that stuff will trickle into your professional career. It'll trickle into your family relationships, your personal relationships, your significant others. It will influence your life in every single way. And I know this is getting a little foo-foo, but I have lived it. I have absolutely lived it. Like attracts like. Light attracts light, and dark attracts dark. So if you find yourself constantly in that state of resentment or anger, or I need to judge others, that stuff's going to come back to you tenfold, and that's who you're going to surround yourself with. And then you're going to look up one day and like, where's my life gone? Why do I not live the life I want to live? Why do I not have the things that I want to have? And it's all because of the people and emotions and thoughts that we surround ourselves with. And so that's where choose goodness, when it comes, and this is important, it's courageous, because these are courageous choices that you have to make. To set yourself and to be different and to live your truth, that takes courage. But it also has to be conscious choices. You have to be aware that you're even making a choice. And so many people that come to me, both from a business or professional or personal, I can't tell you how many times is, I don't have a choice. I have to do this. I don't have a choice. That's the biggest lie we tell ourselves as human beings, because one of the few powers we have on earth is the power to choose. But you have to be able to do it consciously and do it from your truth, and not be doing it to please others, to satisfy others, and worry about what other people think or will think of you. You have to do the courage, and it has to be conscious, and you have to be knowing you're making those decisions. So
right. And that's so true. Everything is a choice in life. Like to jokingly say, the only choice we don't get to make in life is, let's see, where we're born. After that, pretty much everything else is up to us. Although sometimes
Totally.
I like to jokingly say, if you're married, the number of choices you do have suddenly diminishes greatly.
Tend to be outsourced, right?
It's like, oh no. See, if she's happy, I'm happy. Okay, we're doing that. So.
That's right. But all this stuff, I mean, we joke about all this stuff, really is impactful, and it can really change your marriage too. It can absolutely change your marriage.
People don't think about it, and I don't even think that the stuff is woo-woo or foo-foo, whatever woo-y type of ooey word you want to use. It's just a natural occurring thing. You think about the people you surround yourself with. Look at the people who are, I like to use, let's say, professional athletes. You don't see them surrounding themselves with someone who, let's say, is a couch potato that doesn't want to work out, do anything to push themselves to the next level. They're going to surround themselves with people that are going to be engaged at that level. Versus, the opposite.
Totally.
You look at the people who, nothing else like going out and socializing, but you look at the people who, let's say that they have their standing Thursday night happy hour, where it's the same thing over and over again, but they're never advancing in their careers, and they're stuck. And
the biggest point to that, and you can look at all people, and when I talk about successful, I do include financial success in that. That's my background. I'm a business guy. I love business. But if you truly look at the financially the people that do it the right way, they're also probably very happy people. And one of the things that they do, and this is something I stress, is you have to invest in yourself. That great athlete spends a lot of time, or that great entertainer, or the best of the best musician spends a lot of time not only practicing to be their craft, but they're also practicing their art of human beings. They're investing in themselves. And investing in yourselves is, how do we become better than we were yesterday? And it is so key who you surround yourself with, who you hang out with, the mentors. You need people who will hold you accountable. You have to look in the mirror and know, hey, is what I see in the mirror what everybody else is seeing? And that takes courage too. And sometimes to be better than you were yesterday, you have to make changes in your life. But you're so right. These people who you see operating at the highest levels, they have surrounded themselves with a team in all different aspects so that they can be better and to be the best that they possibly can be. And I think you have to invest in yourself. And I am almost painfully dogmatic about who I hang out with and where I spend my time. And I'm going to say something, I change it for this, but I'm going to say something a little crass. And I've lived this, and it has been life-changing for me. If something or someone is not a hell yes for me, it's a no, period. And I know that sounds kind of tough, but it has changed my life.
And I love that, because too many times we make compromises and you create that doubt, and then you go down the wrong path, versus you make it as straightforward as that. It doesn't get much simpler. If it's not that hell yes, well, why would you want to do it?
And exactly. And that comes from scheduling, what you do, who you hang out with. The only time that gets a little iffy is your family.
Right.
That's the only time that one's a little iffy. You're kind of born with that, and you got to love them. And the joke is, if you look around your family and you don't see the crazy one, you're it. But But family, that one gets a little bit tough at times. But it really has. Whether it's a business decision, because we do some investing in businesses and startups, and even on that level, I mean, if it's not a hell yes, if you truly don't want to do it, or you truly don't want to hang out with this particular individual, chances are your gut is right and it's dragging you down in some way. But you can't let fear be the driver either. You can't not move forward because of fear. But if you apply that simple rule to your life, it will make such a significant change on your happiness and fulfillment. I can't tell you. It's been life changing for my wife and I.
Think about the world we live in. You become conditioned to wanting to be a people pleaser. Like, oh, you have to be nice about everything. Oh, you have to do these things. Where's this written down at? I don't see this carved in stone on a mountain someplace. It says, thou shalt be nice to every last person and agree to everything.
Yeah, that wasn't one in any of the great religions. You don't see that one. They left that one out.
You don't see like a little option, like, and all other things as deemed fit. No, it's you have to make it fit.
I think you make a great point, because people pleasing pleases no one, honestly. And at the end of the day, I think it goes back to ancient times when we were hunters and gatherers. I mean, you had to somewhat be accepted by the tribe, because if you were an outcast, it would literally mean life or death to you. So you had to contribute in some role or not. And I think that's inherent in our DNA. It's in every human being on earth. It doesn't matter if it's Bill Gates or the homeless person on the street. We all want to be seen. We all want to be heard. We all want to be happy, and we all want to be loved. And it doesn't matter if it's the great leader or the great entrepreneur, or just, us as average Joes. I mean, we all want that. But you can't compromise your values, who you are, your decisions, your choices, as a human, as a professional, in your business, in your life, in your relationships, to please others or to care about what others think, because they don't have your best interest at their heart. There's very few people who are going to. It's all about participating in your own rescue, right? You have to be the person to live your life, because others can't do it for you. So I think you brought up a great point, Byron.
I think along those lines, it's something where we have to just embrace fully, because that notion of being accepted by everybody and everybody has to like us, the reality is it doesn't matter what you do or how much you're focusing your fulfillment. There's going to be people that resonate with what you do, and there's other people who are going to think it's a bunch of BS and not like it at all. Yeah.
And that's okay. And that's absolutely okay. You know, different strokes for different folks, man. I mean, you know, we weren't, like you said, there's no commandment, thou must please everyone. I mean, it's impossible because we're humans, right? We go back to all the human experience of what we do as humans. And, you know, to find your tribe or to find your group of people who believe in what you believe in and like what you like and will be supportive of you and not anchor you. And that's really important. You've got to know when to cut the anchor. And because you're going to be rowing and rowing and rowing and figure out, why am I not going anywhere? And why am I not fulfilled? And why am I not happy? And why do I not have the house and life and car that I want to have? It's all because you got to cut that anchor and move forward. You're probably spending too much time worrying about what other people think or in fear. And so, yeah, it's a really important thing.
We have to get past that, and it's a hard thing to do, because if we spend our whole lives being conditioned, you have to make everybody happy. At the end of the day, well, you end up being unhappy. You think about your past life of being in the financial world, of how many times all the outward images of success, having the monetary gains, the cars, the clothes, and everything. It wasn't about you. It was about presenting an image for everybody else.
Yeah, it was and again, right. I call it the masks. You know, I had to be the important guy, the rich guy, the successful guy, and it's all a stew of nonsense. And all of it was a part of me, but it wasn't me. It wasn't the true me. And so I didn't like the decisions I was making. I was compromised. My marriage was crumbling. And I did have financial success. I was a junior partner at a very young age. But this is the truth, and I'm about to tell you the absolute truth of what happened to me. When I reinvested back in myself and said, enough is enough, I'm going to live my truth and my value systems. I can be laughed at, I can be judged, but I want to be me and I want to be happy. Enough is enough. I'm just tired of being unfulfilled and not living my life. This is the God's honest truth. The most amazing thing happened to me. I went from being the guy who turns the lights out last wins down to like 30 hours a week. And I was at a firm that required gazillions of hours, because that's how we build, right? We're going to bill you $700 an hour and we're going to make our money. But I went from 90 hours a week to 30 hours a week. I went from being probably the most disliked partner in the firm to the most loved. I then made they made me international practice leader. They made me senior equity partner, and then they elected me to the board of directors, all within 3 years of making that change. And I was working a quarter of the time. But it was, and our team was growing. The international practice was winning awards. We were gaining clients. We were recruiting the best people. And it was all because of the leadership qualities, investing in myself, coming from a place of compassion and empathy and goodness, not only for my clients, our people, and myself. And everybody wanted some. And honestly, a lot of my partners were kind of teasing me in public, like, you know, we get this fraternity / locker room guy thing going on sometimes. You know, we got to right. Peacock to each other, right? But it was funny. They would be like, "Oh, Tommy's probably going to go light a candle and put it in his butt and stand on his hands for another hour and then come back and make $1 million." I'm like, "Oh, whatever." So they're making fun of me in public, right? But then in private, they're like, "What are you doing, man? You seem really happy." You know, and I wasn't going, you know, they would come to my office at night and all these, you know, these peacock guys, let's go to the strip club and smoke cigars and talk about our conquest for a day. I'm like, no, man, I'm just going to go home and maybe go jog, walk with my dog, go hang out with some friends and just be me. And they all teased me for it. But in privately, they were all like, what are you doing, dude? Can I get some of that? And that's when this whole movement of choose goodness and speaking and coaching became it became more than a calling. It became who I was. Because if I could do it and overcome, and Byron, I have to be clear, I'm the guy, if you check off 100 things not to do in his life, I've got like 95 of those checked. You know, if there's that list of 100 things not to do, I'm the guy who's checked 95 of them. And so I'm not a psychologist. I'm just this reformed business financial guy who knows that you can change your life, you can have redemption. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to ask for help. And it's okay to be who you really are, and you can do all of that and still be financially successful. You don't have to give up, your goals. And I'm extremely ambitious, and I love business. I'm involved in like 8 different businesses. I'm on 4 different for-profit boards. They pay me to be on their boards, and I do that because I love it. I love ambition. I love the game, but also I do it because I want to serve, give back, and help others have hope. And, it's so important. And for some of us, and I include myself in this, it's life or death, because it can lead down rabbit holes of terrible, terrible consequences for compromising who you really are.
And, that is so spot on, because I think people need to realize it's okay to do that. Just as you went through that process in the corporate world, where behind the scenes, when no one else is looking, they're coming up to you and saying, how are you doing this? And they wanted that life, but they were afraid to step out and really ask for it.
Oh, totally. And it takes a lot of courage. Choosing to make change is super, super difficult. There's the old cliche, they ask 1,000 people who wants to change the world, and all 1,000 hands go up. And the next question is who wants to change themselves, and maybe 10 go up. Those 10 hands are the folks that I'm looking for. The people who are really seeking to invest in themselves, to be better than they were yesterday, to really build a legacy in their life, to achieve meaning. Really use their God-given talents, and we all have those God-given talents to benefit themselves and others. Those are the people that I want to hang around. Those are the people I want to mentor me. Those are the people I want to mentor, and those are the people that I'm seeking. And not everybody wants that, and it's okay. Maybe you're okay compromising, not making the choices that you want to make. Maybe you've given up, but I'm here to tell you, and I mean this, man. I came from humble beginnings. I went to jail at a very young age. I thought my life was over. I was charged with 2 felonies at 18 years old, and actually spent my 19th year and my 19th birthday in jail. I overcame that. I went from jail to Deloitte in 3 years. And from there, though, I didn't, it was just about chasing this success and money. And I never dealt with my mental health. I never dealt with my emotional health, my physical health. I was surrounding myself with like-minded, scarcity, fear-based, tough guy mentality nonsense. And Byron, it almost cost me my life at 36 years old, and even at 18 years old. That whole insecurity and not being good enough. But I'm here to tell you, if you've lost belief or you've lost faith, or you think that if I want to make a big decision in my career that I'm going to give up all my financial success and protection, that's all nonsense. It's all a lie. And it's a lie we're telling ourselves, because you can't. Life is short. But you can. If I can do it, man, I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to be self-deprecating. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And I mean that.
Right.
And again, I'm not a psychologist. I'm just a dude with a lot of scars, and there are a lot of self-inflicted scars. And this work that I do, both the way I live my life, the schedule I keep, again, going back to if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And I'm constantly doing the work myself. I spend a lot of time working on me and investing in me just to keep this machine operating so that I can serve others. It's really that important to me.
And that is so powerful. And I want to thank you for sharing that part of your background, because so many people, they think if they've had a screw up in their life, that's it, I'm throwing my hands up, it is over. But it doesn't have to be.
I agree. Doesn't have to be. And Byron, I was a Picasso at screwing up, because I don't know, it was wired in me at a young age. A couple of things is when things really started going good, I had this huge insecurity and fear-based, not good enough mindset. I mean, it was down in my DNA level. Like when things were going really good, either financially or at the firm or in my marriage, I would go out and literally drop a nuclear bomb on that. So I was this Picasso at really screwing up, and it was my way of saying, hey, y'all, look at me. I am not good enough. I told you I wasn't good enough. You guys keep telling me that I am, but let me show you I'm not. And that's when I said, enough is enough. I'm going to fix that behavior. I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to double down on mental, emotional, physical, you name it. I'm going to surround myself with people who believe. And honestly, Byron, for 36 years, I didn't believe I was good enough. And that is a myth that we tell ourselves, and we're all got it a little bit. Some of us a lot less than others. Some of it, like me, I have a whole lot of it. That insecurity and am I good enough? And if I really put myself out there, will anybody really like me? And the truth of that is 100% yes. You just got to be willing to get courageous and put it out there, man, and things will start happening for you. But you got to believe. You got to believe that you can do it.
That is so spot on, because it's so easy for us to begin comparing ourselves to others and then think we're not good enough. But the reality is everybody started off the exact same way, whether it's a seminar. You think people are world famous speakers now. They'll all tell you a similar story. That first seminar they did, those 10 or 12 people in the room, and 8 of them were their friends and family, including their mom.
That's right. Got to start somewhere. You know, who knows where Beyonce started the first time she sang? Who knows where that is? And look where she is now.
Exactly. We automatically think, well, I should just be able to go from the starting line to the penthouse in like 5 seconds. Well, no.
Oh, no.
If that was the case, there would be just high rises everywhere. It's just like big apartments built on stilts. It's like there's nothing underneath. Everybody's in a penthouse. It doesn't look like that.
No, and we all can't be Einsteins and Steve Jobs, right? I mean, you know, there's some people that are just born with that genius gift. I mean, but all of us do have something to offer to the world. It doesn't matter your background, your age, your color, your challenges, your triumphs, your tragedies, your mistakes. And by the way, those mistakes, all of those mistakes I've made in my life have really built me to the man I am today. And that doesn't mean I'm not going to make another mistake. I'm just going to make, you know, these choices and decisions I make, 8 out of 10 are going to be a whole lot better than they used to be.
Right.
But you're right. You have to do the work. This stuff that I do and teach, this, you know, when I go out and speaking or I do business coaching, I still go into a lot of businesses and do coaching or executive coaching or individual mentoring. You got to be willing to do the work, and you got to be willing to look in the mirror, and you got to be willing to double down, take the time it takes, because there is no magic pill. This isn't easy. If you want to build $1 billion business, that doesn't happen overnight. If you just want to live a fulfilled life and achieve some sort of meaning or leave a legacy for things or people or organizations you care about, you got to work at it. And it takes a significant amount of time, a significant amount of work, and there's all sorts of folks out there that can help you. And find the folks that you like. And excuse me, I'm from the Southeast United States, so I'm using folk at the moment. find the people, you know, who will support you, and you've got to start somewhere. And like you said, these gurus. I got a funny story about that, Byron. I'll share in just a second. But, you know, these people out there that are, you know, the Tony Robbins of the world, the Deepak Chopras, the Oprahs, the Gary Vaynerchuks, the Tim Ferrisses, they started somewhere, but they did the work. And they believe in their message. It comes across in everything they do. And that's you know, this is more than a calling for me. It's a life. I've got a really funny story real quick. Now I'll share it really quick. I said earlier that I ran an international practice for a large financial institution for a while. Okay. And a lady that I met that I used to work with, she was based in the United Kingdom. She's actually from Italy, but she's based in the United Kingdom. She sent me this really long email and series of Facebook messages saying, you know, her life, her professional career is kind of in a shambles, and her personal life she's having a lot of tough times right now. And we all go through that, by the way. And it's never one thing. It's usually this stew, you know, because wherever you go, there you are. So it's really hard to separate that personal and professional. But here's what she sent me. Finally, she's like, I really would love your help and advice, but don't give me any of that guru nonsense. And I'm like, okay, so you want that quick, easy fix. And the truth of the matter is it doesn't exist. There is no magic pill. And Byron, the message is there when you're ready to hear it. And if you're not ready to hear it, it's never going to present yourself. And this is let's take a sidestep real quick, because I come from the world of finance and money and investing and mergers and acquisitions and financial audits. I 100% believe this, because abundance and financial success or life success comes from belief. And I prescribe to a school that I could divide every single dollar on this universe and disperse it out all over the world to the 6 or 7 billion people that we have. And within 50 to 100 years, it would be back in the hands of 2 to 5%. And it has nothing to do with their skill set, because I can teach you the skills, I can give you the tools, I can give you all of these absolute proven things to build companies or yourself financially successful. But if you don't believe you're worthy, and you don't believe you're good enough, and you don't invest in yourself to know that, yes, this is the life I was meant to lead, it's just all going to go away. And so it's a mindset, it's a way of living, it's a toolbox. This stuff is super important, but at the core of it is got to be self-belief. And until we can get you there, the rest of it won't matter.
That's so spot on, because so many people, you see that they have the knowledge, but the one thing that's missing is that belief in themselves. And so many times it's because all along the way in life, they didn't have somebody believing in them. They just told them, oh, you're not good enough, you're not this. So there's that series of self-doubt. Even though they could, they don't believe they can. And that's what has to change.
100%. 100%. And if you see things out there, if you're hanging around people that seem extremely arrogant, that's just another form of insecurity, by the way, and that's lack of self-belief. So it really manifests itself in a lot of different forms in a lot of different people. But, there is hope. I'm telling you, I have done it. I've made so many mistakes in my life, and most of them were self-inflicted, and it all came from a place, even when I had the suit and tie and was sitting on the top of the ivory tower, there was this still inherent belief of insecurity, less than, not good enough, and that masked itself in very self-deprecating habits, in arrogance, in ego, and tough guy nonsense. And I'm telling you, there is a different and better way if you choose and have the courage to do it.
Oh, yes. That is so true. So as we begin winding up everything today, what is one thing you recommend people to do if they're truly wanting to choose goodness in their life?
The one thing that I would recommend, and this wisdom came from me from a river rafting guide, is you have to participate in your own rescue. There's no one going to come and do it for you. You've got to really take a true self-assessment of your life. And are you running optimally the way in the limited time that we have on this earth? Are you fulfilled? Do you have abundance in your life? Do you have love in your life? Do you believe and love and respect yourself? Is the things that you wanted, whether it's travel or monetary things or success or business fame or just to be content and to go live in the mountains, has that manifested in your life? And the answer is no to all that. And if you're compromising who you are to hopefully be, to be accepted by others, and you're putting so much emphasis on what other people think, and you're not wanting to get out there and honestly get naked and, here I am, world, and like me or not, I love me. If you're not there, you have to participate in your own rescue. You've got to be willing to change, and you've got to do the work to change. And I'm here to tell you, you can have it all. And there's a lot of folks out there like me. There's a lot of great coaches. There's a lot of great mentors. There's a lot of great books. But until you're ready to change and willing to do the work, the message is there when you're ready to hear it. And you got to get ready. You get raw, get ready, and we're going to get you there. Someone either like yourself or me or someone will get you there. But you got to participate in your own rescue and say enough is enough. And let's get started. And that's the hardest step of all.
That is so true. Getting started is always the hardest thing for anybody to do.
Totally. But I can't tell you, man, I wish I could touch people and show them where I was at 18, where I was at 36, and where I am now at 43. I can almost say with 100% confidence, because I don't want to say 100% because I don't know what I don't know. But if I just, after this interview, if I just walked off and fell over dead, I would actually, wherever I go, I would be like, I'm okay. I'm very happy in how I live my life and what I stood for and who I represented in all facets right now. So I'm here to tell you there's hope, and you can have it all. I know that sounds so cliche, but you just got to be willing to do the work. And it's, this is a journey, and I'm still in the journey, and I still invest in myself nonstop, but it can be done. And so I know a lot about business and a lot about life, and it's just one of those things that you got to be ready to do the work, and it's here when you're ready to hear it.
Oh, definitely. That is so true. Well, thank you for coming onto the podcast today and sharing your wealth of wisdom. How can people reach out to you and learn more about what you do with Choose Goodness?
Absolutely. You can email me directly at tommy@choosegoodnessnow.com. Or you can go onto our website, and we've got some free stuff there for you if you want to check that out. One of the things I give away is actually my daily life. This is my schedule, and this is how I live. In order to put my pants on and to be the man I want to be and the human I want to be, here's the steps that I take. So I give that. I've got book recommendations, and I also have a checklist on how to achieve meaning. So you can go to choosegoodnessnow.com, or you can email me directly at tommy@choosegoodnessnow.com, and I will respond to you.
Oh, that is awesome, Tommy. Well, once again, thank you for coming on to the podcast today.
Byron, it's been a pleasure, man, and thank you for this. And hey, everybody, when you choose goodness, seriously.
Oh, definitely.
Thanks for listening to the Big Movement Podcast today. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Now that you've surely been inspired to take your entrepreneurial career and business to the next level, you can stop by the website and get more. And if you're ready to boost your business brand, be sure to grab your free report, 7 Easy Steps to Build Your Brand Today.